All right, so I'm going to bring on our next speaker here. Her name is Angela Lauria. She's going to show you guys literally how to create a book and make 90K with it within the first, I believe it was 60 days, or 90 days. That's crazy, okay? So let's bring on Angela.
Hey, hey,
What's going on,
hey.
Angela?
How are you, man? It's so good to be here.
So good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. So you got something special for all of the attendees, I see, right?
Today's session or something else special?
Presentation. No, presentation-wise, that's something special in my book.
I'm like, okay, that's special. I can do other special things too. But no, I'm psyched to talk about books because it's such a huge opportunity. And right now is a good time to go out and get it. And I think I'm going to be, I know my name is a little like Angels. You've gone from Angel to Angela.
We
And
just
a
added an
second
A. That's all we did.
Yep, exactly. And definitely loved hearing what he had to say. We're going to be super aligned. And one way to get those appointments is with a book. So I'm ready to dig in. Everyone else is.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you take it away. I'm actually going to be right here watching you because this is a topic that I'm super excited about. I've always wanted to write a book. I never knew how. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away. Let's go. Make some noise for Angela. Say Angela in the chat. Angela in the chat. Let's go, everybody.
I love it. I love you guys. Good energy. Well, we're going to talk about how to write a book that makes six figures. In my opinion, there are lots of reasons to write a book. You could write a book as some sort of like art project or creative expression. But if you're going to take all the effort that it takes to write a book, you might as well make a fuck ton of money from it. So I already saw you guys were fans of fuck tons of money. So we are definitely going to have a lot of fun here. But there are a few obstacles that we're going to go through first before we get to the money part. So the first thing is most people say they want to write a book, but they don't get it done. I saw in the chat a bunch of you actually have gotten it done, 3%ers that are out there. So if you're in the 3%, go ahead and put 3% in the chat again. We'll just validate how awesome you are. But most people let a whole bunch of logistics throw them off. And the number one thing I hear is like, I'm just not a very good writer and I can't figure out what my topic is. So I want to handle in today's presentation why people don't finish their books. And then the second problem is if they do get over those obstacles of figuring out what the books needs to be about and getting over their issues about being a good enough writer, how to actually make money with it. Just having a book is not enough. The way I say it here is we have to get into people's hands, get your book into people's hands, their hearts, and actually change their lives and businesses with it. So the one thing I want to say for those of you, I saw a few people earlier saying they had thought about writing a book, but they hadn't gotten it done yet. And the one thing I want to say is often that's smart. When you are stuck writing a book, when you can't figure out a topic, it's usually your brain saying, there might be more productive uses of my time. There might be better ways to get leads. And frankly, if you can find better ways to get leads, I would go get leads those ways. This is the most efficient way I've seen. I'm going to teach you that method and the actual amount of time it takes to write a book or some of these other issues. Do I have enough fans? There's so many other books on this topic. We can get over all of these other issues if we have the plan to turn your book into money. So everybody who has ever finished their book has all the same worries. They do it because they have a clear strategy. So this is a place to start, is just asking yourself, how would your business be different if you got the book done? And these are some of the things, that I see. And then I'm happy to hear more of yours in the chat. A book is a great way to easily attract more prospective clients without having to do a ton of advertising or other work. It brings in prospects. It's a great way to make money. I don't like making money from book sales. I like making it from clients. What I find generally is 100 books that you can give away or sell equals one client. And that's a great way to make money, especially if you know the value of a client to you. Great way to build credibility, thought leadership, and differentiate yourself. So there are a lot of people in your space. That's not a bad thing, but what's going to make you unique and different? Book's a great way to do that. A book is also a great gift to your prospects because it helps them decide to work with you. It gives them a sense of trust and makes it easier to say yes. Your demand for your services will go up, so it's a great way to increase your rates. And of course, it's fun to show other people what's possible when you focus, especially maybe your third grade English teacher who thought you were a terrible writer. So which of these resonates with you, or is there something else you want from a book? If you can share that in the chat with me, I'll make sure I customize to your biggest goals. Credibility, awesome. Okay, awesome. Credibility is really good. We're going to talk about that. Attract clients. Chatty just wants one because it's cool. Will this work with fictional young adult books? No, this is going to be books to drive business. Martin says, do you advise getting a ghostwriter? I don't, but I'm going to show you how you can write it super fast yourself. I was a ghostwriter for 17 years, so I'm going to tell you the inside tricks there. Positioning yourself as a leader. Yep, we'll put that in credibility. Thought leadership, show other people what's possible is important to JB. Awesome. We're going to get to all of that. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I mentioned, Jason, that's a good one. Super deep. It is an awesome way to refine your process through what goes into writing a book. Not just the research, but actually writing it will make you better. So I was a ghostwriter for 17 years. And then in 2013, I founded the Author Incubator. We have created hundreds of 6- and 7-figure movements through our authors, 22 millionaires that we have created. 76% of our authors generate that 100K in the first 90 days. I'm going to show you how they do it. We've had over 1,000 authors through our program. 2019 almost hit 15 million. Probably won't repeat that again this year. Fun with pandemics. We have a live events business. So somebody mentioned my background. We have 17,000 square feet in Georgetown in Washington, D.C., where we bring authors and they write their books here in 3 days. Obviously, we are not doing that right now. It is all virtual for us, which has been a really fun shift. We've been able to help a lot more people. These are 5 of my books, which if you hang out to the end, I will give you copies of them for free. Every year I release a book, and those books, before I write them, will generate somewhere between $100,000 to $200,000. So I'm going to tell you exactly how I do that. We talked about this, Inc. 500, Entrepreneur 360. We've won all the awards, done all the things. Number 7, fastest growing company in Virginia. Our mission is to help entrepreneurs who want to get clients, drive revenue, and build credibility with a book. Somebody mentioned, Jason said, how is this different from Scribe? Scribe is focused on ghostwriters. I think that's a longer, slower process, and they have less good outcomes. It just in terms of the revenue people make. I think completion rate on their books is probably similar. 99.6% of our authors finish their book. We don't believe in ghostwriting. That has to do with my background as a ghostwriter, and we'll talk later in this presentation about exactly why I think you should not use a ghostwriter and how you can get your book done faster and better. Hit on diversity. We work a lot with women, 85%, 33% LGBT, 7% English as a second language. And our team is pretty similar. So diversity is really important to us. And in 6 years, we have generated over 1,000 best-selling books. So we do ebooks, print books, and audiobooks. Many of our authors do all three. Some people just do the print book and the ebook with us. So the audiobook is a little upsell, added extra. And it says by the time you see this number, it's out of date because we add 20 new authors a month. We've got a team of editors and designers, proofreaders, and project managers who all work in a pretty boutique style, just to give you a sense of some of our authors and what they've done. Christy Hayden was able to go from working $100 an hour to doing 2.2 million in 6 months. So she is one of our millionaires, I should say, has 2 little kids, had a baby and a 3-year-old who is on the autism spectrum, while she made that jump from $100 an hour to 2.2 million using this method. Aisha Bascaro was a mid-level manager at Domino's Pizza. She now runs the American Franchise Academy. She's done a couple books with us, again, generating 7 figures, helping people with food franchises. And Tamara Arnold was a personal trainer and was able to use our method. She actually had to borrow money to do our program, and within 18 months had a $500,000 business. And so just to give you a, I'll take a number 1 in the chat. That sounds good. I love it. So I'm going to teach you the method that Tamara and Christy and Aisha went through. 35% of our books are in health and wellness, 25% in business. That's usually sales and marketing primarily, and HR. 19% parenting, 11% spirituality, 10% relationships, all nonfiction, and all of it driving to a business. So before we get into the writing, by the way, the writing's the easy thing. I promise you we'll get there. I'm going to tell you how you can write a book in 24 to 48 hours. It's very quick to write a book. It takes a lot less time, and you will be much happier with the outcomes if you write it yourself. You don't even have to type. I'll teach you exactly how to do that. I'm going to talk about why my authors make so much money, and I'm going to explain to you the model behind that specifically. But first, I want to talk about why now. So I need you to hang with me through this. And then we'll get to the juicy stuff, because it's really important that you understand what is happening because of COVID-19 in the last 90 days. If you can understand this, you get, I'm going to take this off because it's too clanky. Too much noise. If you can understand this, you get a huge leg up over your competition. So it's worth digging in on what is happening. Boo, COVID is right. We hate it. But really, COVID is just a big accelerant to what's been happening in publishing. Seth Godin's been writing about this. Guy Kawasaki's been writing about it. They've been writing about it for 10 years. Boom, in the last 90 days, it happened. I want to explain what it is because it's going to give you a secret advantage. Most people don't know this. If you like secret advantages, tell me, give me, I don't know, let's pick a number. Number 2 in the chat if you like having a secret advantage. There we go. All right. You guys are digging the secret advantage. Here's the deal. The publishing industry, and you get this because you're internet people. So what was happening was, before the internet, 100% of books were bought in bookstores, right? Amazon comes in, and very actually fucking slowly, the internet starts taking a share from the bookstores. So where we were at before COVID was, shockingly, 75% of books were bought in bookstores or stores like Target, Costco, whatever, Indigo, Chapters, whatever country you're in, your bookstores. 25% of books were bought online. COVID happens, stores shut down, and overnight, 100% of books are bought online, very close to 100%. There was a guy with a bicycle in Italy who was delivering books to people's doorsteps. But other than that, books were pretty much being bought online. What happened was a lot of the literary agents and editors were kind of aging out. Just like in the US government, most workers are like over 60, and agents were over 60 years old. So there was a mass exodus of retirements in the last 90 days. New York City was hit. So the publishing industry was hit super hard. People moved wherever they moved to where their grandchildren were. And there's been a ton of deaths, not COVID deaths, but just deaths of people in their 80s that were still agents, and retirements. They're just getting out of the game. They were like grabbing the last residuals of business, and now they're just bagging out. Amazon books sales dipped dramatically because they did that thing with shipping, prioritizing COVID related shipping. So even Amazon took a hit. Barnes and Noble started getting, yes, same happened in the music industry too, George. I've been talking to a lot of people in the music industry about this lately, comparing notes. Barnes and Noble happened to be bought, that's the biggest bookstore in the US, happened to be bought by a hedge fund. The hedge fund was planning over 5 years to shut down and remodel bookstores as event spaces. They've now expedited that and closed 75% of bookstores. So many things have happened in publishing that a lot of people out there, and maybe you are one of them, are thinking, I want an agent and a publisher. I want to do a book deal like, what was that? The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, or whatever that book was out. They want to do like one of the big book deals. And those big book deals, oh yeah, sorry, lots of F-bombs, forgive me. But those big book deals are not happening anymore. The best way to get books into people's hands is to advertise your own book and sell directly to consumers. Now, this was already happening. You watch Russell Brunson did it. He pushed 80,000 units in 2 days of Expert Secrets. You've watched Brendan Bouchard do it. He renegotiated all of his terms with Hay House, so he owned 100%. So many businesses that are on the cutting edge that some of you guys may follow have done this. Guy Kawasaki's written about it. Seth Godin calls it the golden age of publishing. Everybody has predicted it. Nobody predicted COVID and that it would happen overnight. So there are still competitors of yours that are waiting for those agent deals to happen. And those deals are dead, dying, and they are not worth the paper they're printed on. The value of those deals is getting your book in bookstores. No one's buying books in bookstores anymore. Sure, you can sell books, ebooks on Amazon. You can sell print books on Amazon for that matter. And we do it. It's just not how our authors make money. So what I tell my authors all the time is the books you sell on Amazon, that is money that you should use to purchase shoes. And I encourage everybody to write that down. Money I make from book sales on Amazon is designed to buy shoes. But if you want to make bank, the way we make bank is by getting your book directly into prospects' hands and then converting them quickly to clients. And that's what we're going to talk about. So the industry is evolving. Bookstores are becoming community venues. Damien, exactly. Printing and fulfillment, which used to be something we would get from publishers, we're now going to print on demand and e-commerce. Authors who used to be creatives or artists are now focusing on becoming business people and doing techniques like the free plus shipping book funnel offers that George is talking about. We do free book offers, we do free plus shipping. We even have authors who charge for their books. The most important thing is that we are willing to spend all the money we make from book sales on getting books into people's hands. We want to spend money because people who buy your books are the best prospects, the most likely to convert, and the most likely to convert quickly. Agents, book agents, literary agents are relics. They're like telephone operators. There were a few. Somebody was the last telephone operator. Maybe it was one of these four ladies. Somebody will be the last agent. Could it not be your agent, please? Publishers now, really the only thing a publisher could offer is business advice. They used to handle printing and fulfillment and logistics. These are not the guys that you want to advise you on your business. You want to work with somebody on your book strategy that has helped people make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars from a book, from getting clients, not from book sales. And that's what publishers have experience with. So they're not set up to be the right business advisors. So that old model is now officially gone. I have been campaigning alongside with Seth and Guy Kawasaki for 10 years. I am from the old world. I started in publishing in 1994 when I was 21 years old and worked for a New York Times bestseller, worked for Random House. I've done every job in the publishing industry. I was a ghostwriter for 29 books. And the old way stopped working a decade ago for most people. And now is the moment where it's going to really shift for everyone. And you could be at the forefront of this moment. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. I'm going to teach you why this is the moment to make your move. I'm going to do it starting with my first tip for you, which is we have to have a plan before you even write your book on how we're going to get it into people's hands. Most people think the way to do this is to write a better book, come up with a better idea, or write a better book. This was the technique for those of you over 40 like me. This was the technique Betamax used to beat VHS. Does anybody remember the Beta VHS wars? Just put in your favorite Beta or VHS if you remember the Beta and VHS wars. So Beta thought, listen, we're going to have a better product. Everyone will buy our product. What VHS did, does anybody know? I actually wrote my PhD dissertation on this. Does anybody know? You can put it in the chat. Does anybody know how VHS ended up winning the great debate between VHS and Beta? A couple of people love Beta. Beta was a lot smaller by a magnitude of difference. And here is why. VHS got their books, or in their case, their videotapes, into more people's hands. And Danny, it was not Walmart that Danny or Donnie? Danny. It was not Walmart that put them over the edge, but it was the Adult Video Network. Here's what VHS did. They had a less good product, but they went to the porn industry and they said, we will give you unlimited tapes as long as you exclusively use VHS. They made a gamble that if they owned the marketplace, that the equipment would follow. And I actually, like I said, I did my PhD dissertation about this very topic. It was called A Curious Symbiosis, talking about how the adult industry has been at the forefront of innovation. And what they did right is they got those videotapes into people's hands, and then they converted to what they cared about, which was the technology. They essentially gave the book away so that they could sell their agency services. And that's what I teach my clients how to do. It's not about having a better book, just like it wasn't about having a better machine. It's about having a better distribution strategy. You need to have that strategy in mind, and you need to have a plan. So when I said earlier, if you wanted to write a book, but you weren't able to put yourself in the 3% mark, the reason you're not a 3%er is You don't have a plan to actually make money and make your book make sense. Once you have that plan, and I'm going to give it to you today, getting your book done will be super fast because you'll see the dollar signs. It'll make sense. Right now, it's just seemed like, well, a whole bunch of other people are doing this and making money. Maybe I should do it. Without filling in the whole puzzle, it ends up just being a dog chasing its tail. Most people write books that don't make money. I won't make you raise your hand if you did, but how about this one? Put a 5 in the chat if you know someone, could be you or someone you know, who wrote a book that didn't make any fucking money. Yeah. It's because they had the wrong strategy. So if you didn't get your book done, don't beat yourself up. It basically means you knew it wasn't going to make any money, so you did something smarter with your time. Fucking pat on the back. That's a good thing to do. I want to give you the strategy that will make it worth your time. Then you won't be worried about a ghostwriter. You won't be worried about how to get it done. You won't be able to wait to get it done because you'll know that there is a cash payoff at the end. And George, the parallels with music are crazy. So I know you're going to love this presentation. So, and who said that? Brian, Brian, I like that you interviewed an IT guy, so you kind of made money. Like having a backdoor way to make money is always good. It's like tic-tac-toe. You want 2 ways to win and no way to lose. This is our direct path to victory. And this is the thing most people get wrong is they pick the wrong book topics. I'm going to run through this with you. It's really important you get the right idea, and it's a cross-section of 3 things. 1, there has to be a market, which means there have to be other books on this topic. And you want to make sure that other people are selling products and books related to this. Now, you want to have your own unique spin, but you want to make sure you're not inventing something new. The market has to exist. People have to be spending money there. The next thing you need is to leverage your expertise. A lot of people want to write a book by copying someone else's book, by looking at what their coach or their mentor wrote a book and copying it. They want to write a book on things they're learning right now. They don't trust their own body of knowledge. And I promise you, you've got a body of knowledge that we can lean into already. You don't need to go borrow someone else's. You just need to figure out what your unique hook is. And then the third thing is your mission. What are you actually doing here? What are the clients you're trying to get? What's the product or service that you want to sell from the book? So most people get this wrong because they're focusing either just on the market and their mission, but they don't really have expertise. That's a scam or copycatting. They're focused on the market and their expertise, but they actually hate it. That's a job. Or they're focused on their mission and their expertise, but they don't know how the hell they're going to make money. And that's a charity. So we want to find the cross section of all 3 of these things and pinpoint the right book topic. If we've got the right book topic, yeah, Mohammed, you could do it as an ebook. It's totally fine. Audiobooks are also selling really well. Print books have a weird, unique hook. Mohammed's, I think, complaining about a book. I think he thinks it's old fashioned. The thing is, your prospects don't. I don't know why. I don't control the market. What I will tell you is, if you send a paper copy of your book to prospects, in many cases, it will impress them. But ebooks and audiobooks work just as well. There is something about print books that, especially if your prospects are over 40, it's going to resonate with them. Also, people don't like to throw out books, so it gives you a way to get some real estate and attention in a crowded marketplace. But Mohammed, dude, no one's going to make you write a book, so go do a podcast or something, and you can take a break for the next couple minutes if you're really bored by this. It's all good. I promise not to make you write a book. If you are going to write a book, though, you want to make sure that you have an idea that's going to enable us to get your book in right people's hands. And the way I do this with my clients, I won't go into this today, but I use Eric Ries's lean startup method, and we use an MVP. So I'm just going to teach you this in 2 sentences. What you will do is you will come up with the title and the cover of your book, use that as artwork for a webinar or a free online class, and get people to register for the class. If you can't get people to register for a free class, you won't be able to sell the book. So we use that MVP model, the minimum viable product model, by using a webinar before we actually create the book, just to make sure it's going to sell. We guarantee that all of our books will sell, and when people register for the webinar, we get them an early reader copy of the book. That enables us to guarantee that all of our authors get bestseller status. So we have 100% bestseller status, and we guarantee that all of our books will sell by using that MVP approach. So just like beta testing courses. Yep, Paul. All right. Now we're going to talk about why my authors make so much money and how you can make so much money too with a book. Here we go. This is math. Hopefully you'll like it. This is the business model. A typical book, one of our books, will get 2,000 readers. So we're not selling tens of thousands of books. 2,000 readers. We give our books away. Sometimes we sell them free plus shipping. But let's say you were even selling them for, I don't know, 10 bucks each. That would be 20 grand. I still think you should take that 20 grand and buy shoes with it. No one's going to get rich off of book sales. We focus on getting 5 books into readers' hands every day. We have a 5-a-day strategy. It's really easy for our authors to hit that number. Now, with our 5-a-day strategy, what we find is that 10% of the people who we get the book into their hands become prospects, and they will set up a strategy session or a demo. So that's 200 leads or potential clients demos that you can do. What we find is if you do 200 demos, you will get 50 clients. And let's just say that you are charging $2,000 to try out your services. That's $100K right there. We can usually do this. Ronald, for self-publishing, I recommend us. That's what we do. But you could just go to Amazon, just Google it, and you'll find other options if you don't want to find out more about working with us. We help people to self-publish and make a minimum of $100,000 from their book in 90 days. 25 of those 50 people at least will love what you're doing. They will become long-term clients. And let's say you charge $10K for the year. Maybe you have a $1,500 or $2,000 a month retainer. That's 250 grand, or 350,000 in revenue from just 40 new readers a week, 5 a day. So if we've got the positioning right and the business model right, you will hit these numbers. So I'll show you some examples. This is Megan Jo Wilson. Her first retreat ever with us. When she did her book, she did a retreat. So this was part of her pre-order. We did her MVP. We tested her book concept. She got a bunch of people to sign up for the webinar. On the webinar, she sold a retreat. 17 people signed up at $1,250. That was 21 grand right there. 16 of the 17 signed up for her $14,000 package, which was a year of coaching, $224,000. Before her book was released, she made $245,000. So actually, she signed people up for the retreat, then the book released, and it was within 30 days of the book releasing, she had made $250,000 from her book. Who wants to make $250,000? Give me a number 1 in the chat. I'm going to show you how somebody else did it. Awesome. This is Amari. Amari used a speaking method to give his books away, gave away 40 books per speech. He was giving away 160 a month. Talk to 16 of them. So what he would do, it's very fancy. He passed around a yellow legal pad. He had his assistant there. Monique was her name. She would collect the yellow legal pad, follow up with people via email if they wanted to talk to Amari. He talked to 16 people a month. He sold to 4 of them at $2,000. 2 of them kept working with him and went on his retreat and bought his matchmaking services for an average of $12,500. His revenue in his first year was $396,000 from 1,920 readers. Amari worked as a hospital administrator and was making $60,000 a year. Was able to go from $60,000 a year to $396,000 in a year when he was 29. He wanted to quit his job before he turned 30. All right, next up is my girl, Steph Gold. Steph was, for a long time, my youngest client. She came to me at 25. She wanted to work with sorority girls on leadership skills. So she was very active in her sorority in St. Louis. She became a life coach after college, and she wanted to be a life coach to millennial women, helping them find their career path. So this is what she did. She gave away her book. She got 16 leads a month, 4 into private coaching, 2 into her ongoing support, and she was able to generate a $432,000 business. This actually took her 3 years to get there. But within 3 years, she was at 432,000. She has now turned 30. She is engaged, and she has a $2 million business. She is one of my millionaires. Very exciting to watch that. But within 3 years, never ever got a job. Never got a job. She started a business. How many of you are under 30? If you are under 30, can you just put under 30 in the chat? I want to see how many youngins. I like them young. I think if you're under 30, yes, 19. Under 30. Okay, this is, you guys go kill it. Who's my 16-year-old? Grace. You guys easily before you're 30 can have a $500,000 business. So my under 30s, now is the time to crush it. You don't need to work for someone else. You got to have a great strategy. And if you're over 30, I love you too. This is my girl, Renee. She's an HR consultant. She came to work with us. She was 35. She was pregnant. She had Julia and wrote her book at the exact same time. Julia came early. So she wrote, gave birth, and then showed up in my house to launch her book. She just uses straight up advertising. She has an ad agency. She gives away 11 books a day. She talks to about 33 prospects a month, sells 8 people at 2K, 4 people at 16K. She's actually raised her prices now. Her back end is now 25,000. But within her first year with that little baby girl, Julia, she hit $1 million in HR services. So this is what is covering for you. Oh, Chatty says you're not covering marketing spend. I did put it here, but I didn't spend time on it. Marketing spend here was 144K to hit that number, Chatty. I have like 7 minutes left, so I'm skipping over some of the spend stuff. But yes, there is a spend to it. And the spend is about 10% of your revenue. That's where we put that. The big key here, tip 3, is to go deep with your readers. So you're not going to make money from bookstores anymore, from bookstores, from bookstore sales, from agents, from publishers. You're going to make money by using your book to get exposure, taking your readers and converting them into prospects, taking your prospects and converting them into clients. So if you've got visions like these folks who are selling to the general market, I want to change your mind a little and have you think about the specialized market, selling agency services, coaching, consulting, working directly with people or businesses. It's got the least amount of hustle, the highest job satisfaction. It's highly profitable. And all of, Paul says, books as lead magnets. Exactly. All of these authors that you see here have made at least $500,000 from their books. The girl in the middle in the kimono was homeless when she came to work with us. She was living on the floor of a temple and painting, like wax on, wax off painting, not like artist painting. She was painting a temple. Darcy says, do you have a link? theauthorincubator.com. But she was painting a temple and did $333,000 in revenue in her first year ever in business. Jason says, are they structured different? Yes. Our books are structured in a very specific way to get clients, and I'm not going to go into that today because I do want to make sure before I run out of time that I spend a little more time with you talking about how to do this, even if you suck at writing, even if you don't have a ton of time. So most people spend 1 to 3 years and 1,000 hours writing their book. For our authors, it is 4 to 5 hours a week. 4 to 5 hours a week for 20 weeks, or about 100 hours. Like I mentioned, we had an event called 3 Days to Done, where people would actually do this in 3 10-hour days. So in 30 hours with us, they would get their book done. You can do it really quickly. If you are ready to hear how you can write your book in 100 hours or less, say ready in the chat, and I will give you my final advice on how to write your book quickly. All right, you guys are ready. Here we go. Number 1, and this is part of the structure. Yeah, let's roll, Tyrone. Number 1 is identify one and only one problem your book will solve. Number 2, break that problem up, break the solution to that problem up into 8 to 12 steps. In addition to the steps, you will have an introduction and a conclusion, but the core of your book will be 8 to 12 steps. For each of those 8 to 12 steps, write down 5 to 10 things you want to say in that step. They could be case studies, they could be statistics, it could be information, it could be a description of what the step is, it can be an exercise. But you'll want to find 5 to 10 things you're going to talk about. We call those things slugs, which is an old journalism term. You are then, once you have your 5 to 10 things, you're going to schedule 15 to 20 minutes for each step. And I recommend that you break these up into 2 to 3 hour chunks where you're going to spend, let's say, 2 hours on a chapter. The way it'll work is at the beginning of the hour, you will talk for 15 to 20 minutes about each step. And when you talk about that step, you're going to record it. I recommend using a tool like otter.ai, or you might just like Siri, but some sort of voice to text tool so you get all of the content written down. Now you'll take Google Docs works. Can you do voice to text in Google Docs? I don't know of this thing, but that's cool if you can. So you will voice to text 15 to 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes is the length of a chapter. 15 to 20 minutes will get you about 3,000 words, which is how long a chapter is. Now, once you have that 15 to 20 minutes of talking about those 5 to 10 things, you can do one of two things. You can either hire an editor to clean that up, or you can take the remainder of the 2 hours and clean up that transcript and turn it into a chapter. You repeat that 12 times, 8 to 12 times, one for each step. 2 to 3 hours per chapter, and in 24 to 48 hours, you have your book written. You then need to add an introduction and a conclusion. You can go on to Canva and get a cover done for free. There's great covers on Canva that are absolutely free, but there is no reason that you cannot write a book in a weekend once you do steps 1, 2, and 3. Identify the one problem your book will solve, break the problem into 8 to 12 steps, and write 5 to 10 things you want to say in each step. This is the way our authors get their books written effectively and super quickly, and you can do it too. So if you're ready to get more clients and revenue with a book, what I mentioned earlier, I promised you all that you would get access to my book so you could see how I break down each chapter and learn about how to write a book and how to get clients with a book. If you go to the authorincubator.com/free books, you can get them all. I especially recommend Make 'em Beg to Be Your Client, because it'll also teach you this exact method that I taught in today's class. So somebody says, send the link in the chat. Hopefully somebody will type that up and share that link in the chat. But I really appreciate the chance to talk with all of you. Thanks for sharing those links. Thanks for all your great feedback. You guys are an amazing audience. Wow. Alex, I warmed them up for you. You're going to love these guys.
Angela, thank you so much for that. That was absolutely incredible. Guys, can we give it up for Angela really quick? 300 in the chat if you are literally going to go write a book tonight. Okay, because I'm about to stop this whole event and go write a book right now and be done with it before the event's over. Okay, 300 in the chat. Let's make some noise. Angela, thank you so much. Once again, can you just say the URL to make sure that people go and find you after this?
Yes, it is the authorincubator.com. And the free books are at theauthorincubator.com/free books.
Awesome. And we have a couple people who dropped the link in too.
Thanks.
Love it. Thank you so much, Angela. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming on here and dropping all of your knowledge. We'll definitely be in touch after because I need help getting a book.
Let's go.
Appreciate you. Thank you.